Well, to talk more about the parliamentary debate we heard there, we're joined now by Professor William Mallinson. He's a former British diplomat and author too. Good evening to you, Mr Mallinson. Thanks for coming on to RT. Just firstly, just to get your reaction to what Boris Johnson said there and asked for people to protest outside the Russian embassy. Just wondered, as a former diplomat, are you surprised to hear something like that?
Of course I am. This is highly hysterical. Boris Johnson, who, let's not forget, failed to become Prime Minister a few months ago, is seeking even more publicity. And he's chosen to jump onto the bandwagon of American electoral hysteria, which is being fought in Syria and in Washington. Also, post-Brexit, let us remember that the United Kingdom is now becoming even more a subset of US foreign military policy. And it's very unfortunate and sad and strange that even Boris Johnson, who had criticized Hillary Clinton as a sadistic nurse in a mental hospital not so long ago, is now jumping onto their Cold War hysterical bandwagon. Now, he's coming across as a PR clown, not as a statesman, which is not funny for an old Etonian. Eton was once a fairly good school. He's a very clever wordsmith. He's showing great inconsistency in his previous views with allegedly his current views. He's known to be against political correctness, but now he's jumped onto the bandwagon of political correctness. I think it could even be a case of male menopause. Let's not forget that you can't trust him, because don't forget that he was sacked from the Times, I think in the late 80s, for inventing a quote. Of all things. Even more worrying is that he's now been put in charge of MI6, which is Britain's equivalent of the Federal Security Bureau in Russia. Although actually it's now run to some extent by the Americans anyway. He's essentially a nearly man, and I'm quite surprised that he is jumping onto this bandwagon, because he's very good with words. He was editor of The Spectator. And I'm shocked at his inconsistency. Sure.
Well, just on that point of inconsistency, Mr Mallinson, he did seem to pedal back today from the issue of a no-fly zone over Aleppo. It's something that he voted for in the UN Security Council, you know, just a matter of days ago. But today he seemed to backtrack from that and suggested perhaps it wouldn't be such a good idea.
Probably because some of the few saner voices in the United States current establishment probably got in touch with the Foreign Office and said, no, this is all words, let's not be too serious. In all seriousness, he was told by somebody via the Foreign Office. That's certain. I've seen how things work. Yes, Minister, if you like.
OK, it was a heated debate too, wasn't it, when we were listening to it earlier today, and obviously some people making comparisons with Nazi Germany and Russia. When you hear language like that, I mean, what are your thoughts?
It's hysterical, it's irresponsible, it's going back into the worst parts of the past, it's surrealistic, it's no longer relevant, and it's all connected to the current hysteria, because Russia is actually doing a better job than anyone else has done to regain some stability in the Middle East, and it's a tough game to do that, and people die. It's horribly sad. That's what it's about. And in their cosy little House of Commons, God bless the House of Commons, you get fanatics as well, people who seek publicity. That's all it is. It's a show, I'm sorry. It's just a silly show for the electorate. And I hope that the British people don't swallow it all like slaves.
So how do you think Britain's policy then will develop over Syria? Do you think it will change much? Do you think it will become more hardline?
Britain's policy, I'm afraid, will remain a subset of United States foreign policy for the next few months or the next few years. Of course, it could go up or down. It depends what happens with the Brexit, and it depends who wins the US elections. I'm shocked at Boris Johnson's inconsistency. I really am. He's being very irresponsible. And he's not a statesman. I'm sorry. He cannot be. No diplomat ever speaks like that. Can you imagine Lavrov talking like this? No, of course not. Can you imagine even a French diplomat talking as stupidly? Not in such a way, no. He's not a diplomat.
OK, Professor William Mallinson, we have to leave it there. Good to talk to you.